Okay, I believe I'm unmuted now. Let me just get to this video situation. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Prosper Nutrition Show, where we want you to prosper and be in health. My name is Jason Steves. I am a clinical account specialist with Perk Integrative Health. And I am joined, I am trying to figure this out here. Okay, here we go. Yeah. I am joined by my co-host Steve Steves, who's a clinical nutritionist and naturopath, founder of the Nutrition and Health Center. And today we're going to be talking about nutrition tips for reducing arthritis pain. A lot of it has to do. We're going to talk about a test that you can do that can help you identify a primary cause of inflammation and how you can reduce that inflammation with the help of that test. So let's get started. Now, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about a discount opportunity that we're going to give you as well. We're going to be sharing some information about how you can do the testing as well. So stay tuned, and we will talk to you soon. We got an echo.
Yeah, I figured you would. Let me turn off my audio.
There, how's that? That's good. You want me to switch? You want to switch to your audio?
Yeah,
I'll turn mine off. I'll turn mine off. All right. Steve, how about you take it away? What's going on with inflammation, and what is inflammation, and what can we do nutritionally to help resolve inflammation?
Jason, I'm glad you asked that. Inflammation. Know it well. I was diagnosed with arthritis. How many years ago? You were a baby. 40 years ago. And they told me I'd be in a wheelchair. I was in so much pain. I was just looking at the watch, figure out when could I take the next medication. And it was a miserable life. And now I don't have to worry about that because the pain is modulated, or it's managed through the pathways of my omega fatty acid intake. And we do testing for this, but I wanted to use an example of somebody this week and talk about, it's not just arthritis. What other inflammatory conditions are involved? Diabetes, heart disease, cancer is an inflammatory condition. Any disease manifests increased inflammation. The body is on fire. We want to put out the fire. And there's ways to do that, where there's things that we need to eliminate that cause more fire, that feed more arachidonic acid. I know you're going to remember that. Like arachnophobia, your arachidonic acid makes you feel inflamed. So let's look at a chart on that. I want to show you I want to share my screen on this. Yeah. Share screen. Host disabled.
Oh, no.
You got to let me in there,
Here, we'll claim host.
Claim host.
I'll get it. Hey, everybody. I'm here. All right.
We're claiming the host. Claims to host healing. Okay. Press host to record.
Oh.
Request permission.
There we go. There we go. You just want to hear that one. There you go. We got it.
So participants, you can now see a picture of the synthesis of essential fatty acids. Please hear me in this. When the scientists said essential fatty acids, they saw that in metabolism, how these mechanisms worked. The only way this can happen is that these are consumed in the diet. Jesus took care of that by feeding everyone fish and driving the omega-3 pathways, and the omega-6 pathways would be taken care of with other fatty acids, but we seem to get enough of that even from the meats that we eat, and we get an overabundant amount of that, and that's a big cause of pain in the body. So as you flow down the chart, and you see omega-6 over here on the left-hand side associated with these downstream COX-2 enzymes, cyclooxygenase and lipooxygenase, very inflammatory molecules. Medicine tries to block these with serious side effects, damaging metabolic side effects to the liver, to the kidneys, to organ tissues. So
they act, that medications act down here at the bottom end?
right, they block those enzymes. With nutrition, God's approach, this enzyme, this delta-5 desaturase enzyme, is naturally blocked and modulated with EPA from fish. And we can make EPA from alpha linoleic acid that we get from our diet from vegetarian sources, but we don't metabolize that well. We only metabolize about 10 to 15% of our ALA into EPA. That's why fish.
But with that, it's obviously you're recommending flaxseed oil all the time.
Yes,
So
we
that's
give
really
extra
important.
flax just
Right.
because it really helps move the organs. It helps the gallbladder function better. Works wonders. But you can see a lot of factors that are involved with these enzymes not working efficiently in breaking down our fatty acids. Alcohol, aging. You know, with aging comes toxicity. With that comes inefficient liver function. So I don't like that the artist who put together this diagram put the word aging in there, because aging in God's terms in the old Hebrew means to gain wisdom. So we shouldn't decline in function with age. In fact, we should be better functioning in society, more mentally capable, more emotionally capable to do what we need to do. And if we're taking care of our physical bodies, yes, physiologically, like Caleb at 85, could run up a mountain with a sword fighting the enemy and wearing armor, which could have weighed 50 pounds easily.
So could I ask you this, Steve? I think you've shared with me how you notice when you're not taking your fatty acids, like that. How about you share with them like the difference that you've noticed in regard to your fatty acid intake?
Good point. It happens within a day. I notice immediately by not taking fish oil that my inflammation control is a little bit off. Now, it's important that we have inflammation. Fever is inflammation. During COVID, a lot of people got fevers because their immune system is sending out cytokines and chemokines and these are called prostaglandins and leukotrienes. These all have immune signaling effects. One of the ways that this works, it's fascinating, is arachidonic acid allows for the breakdown of choline. We know choline, and we use it in our formula called cell energy. Choline is used in the production of multiple molecules in the body that are derived from these fatty acids. But we need this oxidation. It helps break down lipids. I don't know, when you consume a lipid, anytime you put an oil in water, do you notice how it just doesn't separate and it's nice and big and thick? Well, that's kind of what arachidonic acid does. It helps through lipid peroxidation to break down these molecules to be able to turn them into things like phosphatidylcholine, acetylcholine.
And this is preferably inside the cell this is happening, right?
Right, at the cellular level.
Because if it's another place, then it's going to oxidize and it's not going to work as well, right? Like if it oxidizes earlier.
Or if it's if you're creating excessive amounts of arachidonic acid, you're going to have a higher amount of lipid peroxidation, and therefore you have then tissue cell death. The functions being performed to metabolize what we just spoke of the phosphatidyl products, but the additional acidic compounds from arachidonic acid then are going to cause more inflammation that break down your cells. And we can even see that under a microscope. Live blood reveals red blood cell membranes breaking down. And they read through omega-3 fatty acid testing, we read the levels of omega-3 in the cell. We want that percentage, and I have a chart on that. We want the percentage to be above 5.5, but the really above 6.5. Mine is above 10%. Amy's is above 11%. My wife. Those are safer levels for inflammation control, and some people need more of that for one or more other reasons of pro-inflammation in their life. Those that have genetic difficulties with inflammation. I have genetic SNPs that are associated with the risk of arthritis, and the Bible calls it a thorn in our flesh. We all have weaknesses, and some more than others, and those weaknesses keep us humble, make us realize we do need to trust in God, rely on Him and His provision. And those provisions come in the form of our nutrients in our foods, many cases, to allow for metabolism to work like it's supposed to, and that we don't have inflammation excess. If you look on the right-hand side of the chart where the anti-inflammatory effect is involved, EPA breaks down directly into anti-inflammatory hormones. So they have a cooling effect on metabolism. So when we do a omega test, omega check here in the office, you can do it in a couple of ways. We have little finger sticks that you can do at home or go to labs and get all this information. The finger sticks have limited, they're more expensive to do than just going to the lab, and they have limited information based on the test. But
I'm just going to stop the share.
okay. I do want to talk about the actual test results. So in the test itself,
Want me to go to the website? Or
no, that's fine. We can look at the percentage. So your levels of omega-3 are first recorded on the chart, but they also measure your arachidonic acid. So we can tell if you're getting too much downstream activity that's not being blocked by omega-3. Even if the omega-3 shows maybe 5%, if somebody has too much arachidonic acid, then you look upstream on that chart and maybe they're getting way too much restaurant oils that they're cooking with, right? So we can see intermediate metabolites from the omega-3 that are coming in from the alpha. We'll also get a reading of linoleic and alpha-linolenic acid. So the ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, is the omega-3 molecule, and the linoleic, the omega-6, is the pro-inflammatory. Both of those are measured. The arachidonic acid's measured. The EPA and DHA levels are measured. So it's a very extensive, detailed test. And I had someone in recently before we started running these, and we've been running them on sporadic basis. But in order to help people in their inflammation, I'm just basically telling clients, if you really want answers, we need this test added to your test list. And the test is a little more expensive because it's kind of fancy in its way, but $69 is worth its weight in gold if you're preventing heart disease, cancer, arthritis, rheumatoid, autoimmune conditions, controlling pain and inflammation. People want answers in that regard. So do that at least once a year. Get that omega-3 test done so that you can know your values and know, because what a lot of people will do is I'll make a recommendation to take maybe 4 a day for a woman that's 5'3". Well, Amy does that. My wife does. And when she does only take 4, she notices she gets a dry patch of inflammation on her upper lip, between her nose and lip. And when she gets up to 6 in her body, then then she actually notices it goes away. So the inflammation control markers in this omega test, there's some of them, you can scroll up, there's more up above that, I believe. No, that's the results. This is the results of the woman who had arthritis in her joints. And I thought maybe she wasn't getting enough omega-3. And sure enough, it was low in the score, and you can see the little arrow down because and it gives the amounts up above. But this is a summary page that gives you the specific details of what am I going to do if my omega-3 is low. It's easy, and just more EPA from your quality fish oil, your pure omega. The arachidonic acid then is ratioed to EPA. If the arachidonic acid is high, what are we going to have? Inflammation, and she does in her joints, hands, and so forth. The omega-6 to omega-3, a healthy ratio for this is 2 to 1, and the average American is 15 to 1 or higher. So we've got a problem, America, with too much omega-6, and you need to find out how much contamination is getting into you. Most of the time, you don't know. It's in the foods you're buying, the processed foods.
These numbers are all kind of in the wrong direction, huh? And this is pretty common,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, what you're looking at is the common results panel that we see coming in all the reports that we're seeing.
Yeah, folks. So definitely you want to make sure that you are testing, and then you also are consistently, making changes to your lifestyle, as we heard. Flaxseed oil, the plant oils are important and helpful, but we also want to make sure we're getting the fish oils from our diet, but then realize that the fish oil from our diet we're probably not getting enough. And so that's where supplementation comes in. Omega-3, pure omega-3 is the Prosper Nutrition supplement that we use. That is a clean EPA, DHA fish oil. Well, we actually process, the way we have that processed is it's a process called distillation, right? So you've heard of distillation, like for water, distilled water. Well, they do that to clean out and purge out fish oils when they get those oils from the fish. So they get all those heavy metals and other junk out of the oils through that distillation process. But the problem is most companies that make this type of supplementation, they're doing that distillation process under oxygen. Well, what are we learning here? What'll happen to the oils under oxygen?
They oxidize, and it creates a lipid peroxide. It causes more inflammation, more tissue damage. So
it'll do the opposite of what you want that supplement to do.
You're taking a poor quality fish oil, it will do the opposite. It's like, shouldn't this be lowering my inflammation? Shouldn't I be feeling better? But it's not working.
But the pure omega-3, we actually we distill those fish oils under nitrogen. So there's no oxidative damage done during that process. And so you get a real clean fish oil that you can actually even pop in your mouth and chew. And you don't have any rancid, nasty taste. Really, really clean. Definitely a good way to go.
It's the biggest drug that's sold in America, not fish oil. It would be if doctors were using it correctly, but anti-inflammatory drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And consequently, they don't want the truth to get out. They want to sell their anti-inflammatory drug. So because of the money behind Big Pharma, they're pushing that agenda and controlling what you see. So when you go online and you try to find studies linking fish oil to lower inflammation, you're gonna see a lot of the lies that are out there because they're using their junk supplements, the poor quality oxidized fish oils, and showing studies that are not accurate. But a 3-generation study proved, get those omega, this is great, Jason, right there, that desirable level of omega fatty acids to have, and sharing that.
Yeah, so this is an example test. So this is if you do the omega quant index report, like the finger stick that we do here in office, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, but we give the reference ranges. If we just do it
through the
blood lab, you get that information. You
won't
don't
be
get the
won't be as colorful yet, but we're going to actually work on that.
Yeah,
we're working on that.
But you can see the desirable in the green up there. Even Omega Quant knows these higher 8 to 12% are important. And the lady that we were just looking at, she was down at what, 5%?
It was pretty low.
Yeah. And so even though 5%, I wanted to see what that was. Can you grab that?
Sure, yeah. I'll bring it back up. Yeah, even the small, well, one of the things you could talk on is with testing, even it seems like, well, it's only off by 1 point. What does that really mean? Why don't you talk on why testing, if you're even off by 1 point, what could that really mean?
It just depends on the individual and their
Right.
thorn in the flesh, their genetic weaknesses.
Uh-huh.
For some people, they may feel miserable and they get all kinds of headaches and joint inflammation, and their body gets on fire. And for somebody else, they might just feel a little tired the next day. They might feel a little bit more inflamed and such. Blood wellness.
I did.
Oh yeah.
This is the one I did just a moment ago. Is it this one?
All right.
They haven't seen it yet, but they're about to see it again.
I just love doing these tests. That which gets tested gets better, folks. That's a quote from Lord Kelvin. Developed the Kelvin meter, and he knew, and in fact, he went on to say another quote: that which gets tested and repeated will get better even quicker.
All right, here we go. About to share. Sorry for the delay, folks, but
So here's someone that's new into a program. They've only been doing it for a month before we did these tests. And look at how high the omega-6 level is, 42.9%. When you ratio that to the 3, he's got a 7.5 ratio, 6 to 3. So that drives up that arachidonic acid, the 15.2%. Even though it's doing pretty well, the fish oil is managing that. You would think that would be even higher. Consequently, he feels really good, even with these scores. This guy is...
So and that's something that talks to the point. I think I've heard a lot of clients come in and they realize after they get started that they didn't, or they are observing that they didn't realize how good they can feel. And I think that's the case for this guy. He's feeling a lot better, but the potential that we have for our health is just so much higher than we realize.
Really is. And he's very active in his work. He's constantly on his feet.
Yeah. So this is great. So folks, the Pure Omega-3, you guys can get that on the prospernutrition.com website for 10% off when you use the code 5324SHOW. It's today's date, 5324SHOW. Use that coupon code at checkout. It'll give you 10% off the Pure Omega-3. And that way you can get started, start feeling the difference. And then download the free 7 Proven Steps guide on prospernutrition.com. It's free. It's free download. Just put in your name and email. We'll catch up with you on some emails, but you can delete them if you don't have time to read them that day. But we're trying to keep you up to date on this information that Steve was saying. You're getting bombarded with information about health. It's better for you to get information, we feel, from someone who's living it and someone who's committed to results and not just helping.
Right.
Yeah.
Not just trying to sell you something.
Yeah. So that's something that we've noticed in the industry. We are selling something, but we're selling something that we are practicing, we believe in, we're living, and we feel like that's the way to go. So, like I said, use that code 5324SHOW.
My fishing tackle box. This is what I take in a day, different formulation. But there's my fish oil right over here.
Yeah.
See it
Yeah.
mixing there with it.
That's awesome.
6 a day religiously. Don't go home. Don't leave home without it.
And then hydrate. Hydrate's going to go a long way. We're very dehydrated, and that can cause a lot of pain too. So keep yourself hydrated.
Yeah, when you contact us to make a purchase on those on that discount, ask for any one of the articles that I did on specific topics, whether it was on blood sugar, detox, heart disease, it's a big one. And so you can read more in detail about how these nutrients and this lifestyle activity is associated with preventing diseases and reversing diseases. God's in the healing business. You were created to be healthy and well, and your body only knows that. You give it what it wants, it gets healthy. You give it what it doesn't want, it breaks down and suffers. So we are not disease labeled, we are health labeled, and that's what I'm running after.
Thank y'all for watching. If you're still hanging out at the end of this video here, appreciate you. Send a comment on the video if you can. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer your questions. We have questions all the time in the office, and we want to continue to share that information with you. That's why we're coming to you with this information today, just the questions and issues that people are dealing with that we want to share with you. So share your questions in the comments and share this video, like and subscribe to the channel. That way you can be reminded when we're going live on these videos. And yeah, thank y'all for watching. I hope you prosper and be in health and have a good weekend.